Ba-dum, dum, dum, who am I? I'm just some guy, the guy they dub the Canadian Schlub. Boop. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Canadian Schlub vlog. I'm Jason, the Canadian Schlub himself. Merry Christmas to all of you out there. Happy holidays. Just get that out there because obviously it is the season. I think I want to talk about emotions. My emotions. I'm an emotional guy. Doesn't take much to bring a tear to my eye, choke me up a little bit. But I can get very emotional about what some might consider to be the weirdest and strangest things. In my opinion, I guess that's a testament to what I'm watching, because I can get emotional about TV shows, even some animated shows, movies, of course. I cry at movies all the time, but it's sometimes odd. YouTube videos, even, because I recently there was one that's been passing around of a little boy who got an early Christmas present, and he's opening this big box, and it was his dad returning from the military inside the box. And that's just a shout out to my boy Kevin Smith. He retweeted that video, and that's where I saw it, and that stuff gets me. My wife sent me an email while I was at work. It's a beautiful sentiment. Just talking about if she could, she'd go back in time to meet me sooner and love me more. That type of sentiment, and it made me cry while I'm at work. I'm on the phone trying to talk somebody through some tech support for their internet, and I'm having to mute my microphone because I'm starting to cry a little bit and getting choked up. That's just the kind of guy I am. And it can go the other way too, where certain things with movies and in the world I get very heated about, and so I can get very loud and angry. Check out classic episodes of the movie Madhouse where we talk about the remake of Annie, and you'll see it. But stuff like Bohemian Rhapsody, quite possibly, in my opinion, the best movie of this year. One of my favorite movies of this year. It's the very top of the list. I want to see that movie again and again and again. Now that there's hints, rumors that they could possibly do a second one to finish the story, because, spoilers, the movie does not end with the death of Freddie Mercury. That's only half the story. There's so much more to tell. For one, I want that yesterday. I'll take it. I want it. I had questions. Stuff I was expecting to see, but not knowing the timeline. I want that. Bohemian Rhapsody, I was bawling in the theater for the last 20 minutes of that movie. I'm bawling out of joy. Okay? Yeah, it's not... It wasn't a sadness. This was I just loved what I saw so much. It brought so much out of me. But I've cried watching Doctor Who. I've cried watching Infinity War. I know a lot of people have, a lot of nerds have, right? But I don't want to go. That sentiment, David Tennant's final moments as Doctor Who, I don't want to. That it was an emotional moment, and then the same words, and to find out that it was improvised in Infinity War. Spoilers. Okay, Spider-Man dies. He fades out while he's in Tony Stark's arm. I don't want to go. God, they just ripped my heart out. Even Rick and Morty, of all. And Rick and Morty, if you're not familiar, Rick and Morty is one of the most amazing shows in this generation. It's insane and hilarious, sick and twisted, but at the same time they'll sucker punch you right in the gut with some really poignant and beautiful moments that will bring a tear to your eye. it's such a brilliant show. And it's upsetting that it takes them so long to put out more episodes, but they're just perfectionists. They've raised the bar every season, and they don't want to disappoint. They've set the standard, and they're not going to be happy until they meet or exceed that standard. I can't fault them for that. Okay, these gentlemen are artists. This is their art. We get to appreciate their art, and if they don't feel their art's ready for our consumption, if you will, then more power to it. Take all the time you need. Please hurry, but in the same vote, we don't want you to lose any of the magic. But at times when I want to feel like I should be embarrassed about being this emotional, but why? I have a heart. I can honestly say that my son Xander, who's really going down a road of being a vocalist, performer. He's taking Bachelor of Music. He's going to be a performer, whether on Broadway or on the opera stage, whichever route he goes. A big part of that, I think, he shares from me, because when he sings, his emotion pours out. If he sings a very emotional song, you can't help but feel it. He's had, and his musical career is only 5 years old. Like, really, this came out of nowhere, but he has that ability to just exude the emotion of what he's performing, and it's just magical. And I don't think I'm really tooting my own horn in any way to say that I'm quite sure he got that from me. Not that my wife's not emotional, but she doesn't quite get to the same level that I do. She has her moments. Yes, she has a heart. It's there, and we do see it once in a while, but not nearly to my level. I think she finds it funny because I'll tear up over the silliest things, and it's funny to her. But I guess I don't know. I know I don't need to be embarrassed by it, but I think I like that I can have those emotions, and I like that there are things out there and projects and shows, movies and whatnot that can give me that. It's nice to feel something, to feel an emotional connection to something like that. It's one thing to enjoy it just on one level, but to get an emotional attachment to it, that's just it exponentially makes it more. And if there's anything out there that you're into that can pull an emotion out of you, that's something to grab onto. Okay, maybe not if it's on the hate, on emotion of hate. Okay, that's maybe step away from that. But that it's great to find stuff like that. And with that being said, and I already talked about Infinity War, we now have Avengers Endgame on the horizon. We've seen the trailer. The trailer is already, it's bleak. It's continuing on with the despair left over from Infinity War, but there's rays of hope, and that's what they're going to be telling a story, and you want to believe this is the final chapter, that we're going to have a happy ending in some way, but it's not going to be a happy ending for everyone. We know this. We don't know to whom, to what, but there's rumors, there's speculation, there's hints here and there, but I can't wait for that roller coaster. And I'm actually going to be starting next week. I'm going to ride the Marvel Cinematic Roller Coaster with 2 movies a week, flowing through the entire 20-movie saga. I might even slip the one-shots in there, leading up to the penultimate chapter of Captain Marvel. If my timing calculations are correct, if I start next week, I'll be gone through the entire series, leading into Captain Marvel, which is the final piece of the puzzle before we get Endgame. And it's going to be an emotional roller coaster. Those movies have all really pulled something out of me at various times, various places. Some high, some low. But I can honestly say I have none of the Marvel movies have ever failed to give me something. Some more than others, but I've never been disappointed in any of the Marvel movies. So I'm ready to ride that train and ride that roller coaster one more time. So that's I just wanted to share that with you all this time around, because I'm trying to give you a glimpse into me and how I think and how I tick. So with that being said, now it's time for this week's song, and this is going out as a recommendation from my son Xander. He recommended I do this one, and I was leery on it, but then I got thinking the song is it has a special place in my heart a little bit. This song tells a story that does hit close to my heart, and it's dedicated, and you'll know who you are, Mike. That this song is going out to you, Mike. So without further ado, here we go. Oh, whoa, oh. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. You know how you toy with me, Mike. Once bitten and twice shy, I keep my distance, but you still catch my eye. Tell me, baby, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a year, it don't surprise me. Wrapped it up, sent it with a note saying I love you and I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been. If you kiss me now, you might fool me again. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Oh, oh, oh. Crowded room, friends with tired eyes. I'm hiding from you, and you're soul of ice. God, I thought you were someone to rely on. Me, I guess I was a shoulder to cry on. A face and a lover with a heart in his heart. I'm an undercover, but you tore me apart. Oh, now I finally found real love. You'll never fool me again. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. A face on a lover with a fire in his heart, a man undercover, and you tore him apart. Maybe next year I'll give it to someone. I'll give it to someone special. Special. Someone. Stop toying with me, Mike.